What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So this is going to be a little bit of a odder, less in-depth review because I'll be honest, I wasn't able to fully watch the game today. I have a short film that I wrote, and today was the day of filming. So yeah, it was kind of a we have to do it today or we don't do it for a while. So unfortunately, filming started around the time, or at least setup started around the time that the second half started on. So I was able to kind of keep a bit of an eye on it, but honestly, after the third goal went in, I started to, I guess, focus a little bit more on the film stuff because I was like, okay, so I feel like we're pretty comfortable at this point. But I'll do my best to at least talk about what I did see and some of my thoughts about where the team is because honestly, this is now three really good results and really good performances in a row. And this is one where, again, maybe rode our luck a little bit in defense, and I will talk about that back three in just a second. But I mean, we played well. We still had a lot of energy. We didn't just we scored a goal, let's just sit back. Like, we still put some pressure. And I mean, obviously we scored pretty early, so sitting back and trying to defend a 1-0 lead for what was it, like nearly 80 minutes was not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, we even after we gave up the goal, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Like, all of a sudden, heads are going to drop. We're going to see Leicester just take control. But no, I mean, we kind of took it back to them, and then great goal before halftime. So, yeah, it was really good to see the response from the team today, not just in the idea of, okay, so the Dortmund game was really, really good performance. Let's build on that. That was good to see. But also giving up the goal, making it 1-1, there weren't a whole lot of heads dropped. We still picked up our play and we played well, and we got two more goals to top it off. So yeah, overall, I mean, I'm very happy with the team performance. From Potter's side of things, I will say the back three is a little weird, just because I guess maybe this was just my opinion because after reading comments and after seeing who won man of the match against Dortmund, apparently a lot of people thought the back three played really well together. Maybe it's just because I'm much more of a defensive-minded person. Like, I played defense. I feel like I understand defense. My favorite players tend to be defensive players. Maybe that's why. But I was watching that performance thinking, God, these three in the back is kind of scary. Because they're all very wild. They dive into challenges. They get pulled out of position too easily. I was a little concerned to see the same back three today. And sure enough, we had several moments where Leicester, honestly, they could have put a couple away, and they wasted their chances, and Kepa had to make a couple really good saves. So it felt very similar to the Dortmund match in that sense, and I don't really know I don't know, I don't really get why Potter doesn't utilize Badiashile. It's already weird that he left him off of the Champions League roster based on his performances that we saw before they had to finalize that in January, because few things we saw from him, he looked solid. And honestly, I would say after Silva, he looks the most composed, and I guess he's the best positional defender that we have. Because again, the three that we had back there today to start, they tend to just get pulled out of position too often, and it feels like there are times whenever guys just go running past them, and they're not really keeping track of them. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, there he goes. So, little frustrated that we're not seeing more of Badiashile because I do think what I've seen from him so far, he brings more to the field than the three we have out there. Not that they're awful, but they do have their downsides where I feel like a lot of teams are going to take advantage of it better than Leicester did today because they wasted. I mean, there was the one where Kepa came out and then shot comes in, somebody deflects it and Gallagher had to clear it off the line, and then there was the one where literally, I mean, all Dewsbury Hall had to do was just put it in. Like, it fell to his feet right there in the six. All of our defenders are all over the place, and he just scuffs it right to Kepa. So they had their chances to put two or three more away. Kepa also had to make some good saves too. He a little frustrated with some of the errors that he made that led to some chances, but he still made some good shot-stopping saves today. So I don't really like having a defense where I do get nervous. Anytime the other team comes down the field, there's a very good chance a chance is going to... I really need to find a better way to word that. there's a very good chance that they will create a chance. Because, yeah, those three just do not do a very good job of working together and making sure, okay, well, if you step out, I'm going to cover your space. It tends to be a lot of holes in there. It tends to be pretty easy to pass through us. Dortmund did it pretty well, and then Leicester did it to us as well. So, yeah, if it's that easy for even a team like Leicester to pass through us, clearly this back three is probably not the answer. And again, they're not terrible. And honestly, Kukurea, he doesn't look as bad as he used to, but they all three, Kukurea, Koulibaly, Fofana, they all three do have those downsides. So I do think Potter using the same back three tonight was a little weird, and it nearly cost us a couple times. So, but onto the officiating, because that was something else that I did want to talk about, because yeah, it is a little frustrating. That this, I don't remember who it was that was in the center tonight, but yeah, some really awful challenges. One that forced Felix off at halftime, studs up challenge on the ankle. And the thing is, it wasn't even like it was his, he's coming in from the left side and he caught his left ankle. It wasn't that. He came in from the left side and caught his right ankle with the studs. And not even a freaking yellow card. Why? And what makes it even worse is Fofana then goes later on. Castagna, beats him to the ball, wins the header. Fofana goes to poke it away, catches him, a little too close to the head. That's a yellow card. But the challenge studs up on Felix's ankle was not. And hopefully it's not too bad, but who knows? It did twist pretty ugly. And then on top of that, you got the studs up challenge into Havertz's chest, which left a very clear mark on there. So, first of all, what's the center ref watching? Second of all, what is VAR watching? Why do we have VAR there if he's not... he's supposed to step in and say, hey, look at that challenge again, because that was ugly. That was dangerous. They ended up with a red anyway, but it was because of 2 yellows, I think. I'm pretty sure it was 2 yellows. Even then, it took him, I wasn't really watching at that point. I just happened to glance up and see him pulling out the red. So I was like, oh, finally somebody got sent off. I half expected it to be a Chelsea player, honestly. But, yeah, it was, another pretty bad challenge, scissor through. And I think it was his second yellow. So, yeah, because he actually, I do remember he was the one that got the first yellow for them because he pulled Loftus-Cheek back. I honestly thought he wasn't going to get one for a second. But... yeah, it's frustrating because very clearly 2 ugly challenges that led to, one player going off at halftime, one having this big red gash on his chest, and nothing for it. Neither one was shown a card for it. And I feel like, I don't remember who was the one. I think it was Amarty was the one that caught Havertz in the chest. I don't even think he was a foul called on him. I'm sorry, you kick the ball and you leave your studs up to the point where they hit some guy in the chest? That's dangerous play. There's no reason you kicking the ball should lead to your foot coming up like this and hitting somebody in the chest. There's no reason for that to happen. Nobody kicks the ball naturally and has their foot go, oh, I'm just going to whoop. Nobody does that. Especially, it just doesn't happen. The ball, I'm pretty sure the ball was not bouncing. It was on the ground. And he kicks through it and leaves his studs in the air. That's a red card. And I don't even think it was called a foul. So, yeah, ref today was pretty bad in that sense. And hopefully, Felix's injury is not too bad. Hopefully it's just kind of a twisted ankle and it's just going to be, maybe he'll be out next week, but he'll be fine after the international break. Havertz, I'm assuming he'll be back. Probably just put some bandages on it because it was more of like a cut than an actual something to worry about, like a muscle injury, something like that. So, but trying to talk about individuals, obviously, again, I didn't really watch much of the second half because got busy. But from what I saw the first half, I'll try to, and I did watch the highlights. Unfortunately, didn't have extended highlights for whatever reason. But from what I did see, Kepa, like I said, he did make a couple mistakes, but he also made some good saves. So it's kind of back and forth. It felt like the part of Kepa that obviously there were multiple parts of Kepa that I didn't like early on with him, but one of the ones that I hadn't really seen for a little while was the inability to control his box, and on corners, crosses, free kicks, anything like that. It felt like there was a time early on where we went from Courtois, who literally any cross or corner that came in, you just were confident as long as it's not going to the top of the box, Courtois is probably going to get it because he's tall and long arms. Kepa, kind of tall, decent length with the arms, but not nearly as commanding in his height and his arm span. Yeah, not nearly as commanding as Courtois was. So there was that concern, and it definitely felt like teams were a lot more likely to put a big body in there and get a chance, even if Kepa's coming out. And so there were a couple times today where it felt like that again. And I don't really remember that being a problem for him recently. So I don't know if Leicester just is a little bit more aggressive on their set pieces and their crosses, but it's a little concerning that he did have such trouble today dealing with some of these balls just up in the air. Dealing with the defender putting pressure on him. Like, you should be doing a bit better to the point where you're not just, I've come out to catch it. Oh no, now I punched it right to this guy at the top of the box. But like I said, saves today were pretty good. Defense, again, a little all over the place. All three very similar from what I saw in the first half. Just not very good at tracking runners, not very good at working off of each other. If somebody steps, somebody covers. It just didn't really feel like they connected very well. So I already said my piece about them. Loftus-Cheek on the right side, from what I remember, did okay. Still want to see a bit more effectiveness from him in the final third, but he was working a bit harder today. Because he's still not a right wing back, and I don't think he will ever really be fully able to play that position as well as James or even Azpilicueta. So he's not a winger. He's not somebody that's going to stay wide all the time. But I thought he did okay today, at least giving us a little bit of width. And when he did get the ball out there, he seemed to want to take on players, and that's kind of what we need a bit more from him if he is going to be our second option out there when James isn't available. Chilwell's just, I don't even know what to say about him. I'm running out of superlatives because he's just at the top of his game right now. I mean, he played phenomenally against Leeds. He played phenomenally, robbed of the man of the match, honestly, against Dortmund. And then just comes out today, and I'm sitting there thinking, this is what it's like to have players that have confidence. Because that ball across from Koulibaly, I'm thinking, God, what an awful cross. And it falls to Chilwell, and he goes to hit it. I'm thinking, what are you doing? This is a terrible... It's in the back of the net. Okay. Just... Oh, man. It's so nice to have players, again, just the confidence. You can see it. Nobody on that team would have taken the shot that Chilwell did today 3 or 4 weeks ago. That would not have happened. He would have taken a touch, tried to see, okay, what options do I have? No way that would have been a shot. But today it was. And keeper probably could have done a bit better on it, but man, that's one of the things that makes it a good shot. The idea that the keeper is thinking, okay, well, he's not going to hit the shot from there, and it catches him off guard. It caught me off guard, and it goes in because of it. And he took it very cleanly, too. So, honestly, I didn't really talk about the goals. All three of these goals I could see being up for goal of the month, because they were all just... There's an aspect of each of them. With Chilwell, it's just the confidence to take that shot from the side and not just connect cleanly, but also put it on target. All three just... I'll talk about the other two in just a second. But yeah, so Chilwell today, again, I thought he kind of deserved man of the match. He and Havertz both, I feel like, kind of deserved man of the match for their performances against Dortmund. I still don't really know how Cucurella got it. I think it was just honestly one of those, he's been so bad that his decent performance against Dortmund, people were like, oh my gosh, Cucurella is amazing. I'm like, well, in comparison, he probably looks amazing because he used to be all the way over there, and now he's just kind of here in the middle. He did okay, and people are like, he's great! Anyways, into the midfield, again, Fernandes and Kovacic, that relationship is really building in there, and I like what I'm seeing from it. I like seeing them work off of each other. That little 1-2, they're both very clever in that sense. Still lacking a little bit defensively. and that is something that might hurt us against better teams. Because again, Dortmund, it looked way too easy to pass through them in that game. But definitely, whenever we're facing some of these teams that maybe aren't as strong, maybe we will have a lot more of the ball. They're going to be a very effective duo in there. And if teams try to high press on them as well, they've shown today, because there were several moments that I can think of where it was just very, it seemed like it was nerve-wracking for a second. Like one of them had it, and there was pressure, and there was somebody else right there, and you could see they were starting to close in, and then all of a sudden just a little flick, and they're out of that pressure. And they're moving the ball out wide. So, yeah, both of them today played well. Fernandez, the assist for the second goal for me, is what puts that up there as one of the goals of the month so far. Because just the vision to see that and the technique to execute it, it's something that Jorginho did once or twice when he was here. Fernandez has only been here, what, 2 months? And he's already pulling that stuff off. I hope it's more consistently. But yeah, I mean that pass right there is why I'm glad we got him. Because I feel like he's going to do that more often than Jorginho did for us. So, and it was just executed perfectly. And then Kovacic, his finish for the third goal was phenomenal as well. Because he's under pressure. It's not on his strong foot, it's more on his left foot, so he decides, I'm going to do a little karate kick, hits it outside of his right foot, and just buries it. I'm just like, I don't even know if he meant to do that. I don't know if it was just kind of a hopeful, like, I'll try it. But again, the confidence to try to pull that off is what tells me that this team is feeling much more in their groove, and they're feeling much more like the talent that we expect to see out of them. So, but yeah, that another phenomenal finish that puts it up there for goal of the month for me. To the front three, again, Potter made the good decision, dropped Havertz deeper, and in my opinion, Havertz benefited again from it. So it feels like he really is trying to make sure Havertz starts from deeper. And even the run for the goal. It was honestly kind of similar to the run that he made to score the Champions League winner, which was Mudryk made a run outside, drew a defender, and now all of a sudden Havertz has a little bit of room to run it through the middle. And I think that works so much better for him. He's not standing up there and then trying to make a run, because then he most of the time ended up offside, because he would run, he's starting right next to the defender, runs offside. Where he's starting from now, he's deeper, and then makes that run, and that gives him time to get up to speed, so when the ball goes over the top, he's fast when he gets up to speed. He's not quick in the acceleration, but when he gets going, he's got good speed on him. It's hard to catch him. So starting from deeper means he now gets up to speed, and as long as whoever's playing it up, which Fernandez, I believe he can time it very well, that ball through suddenly becomes just perfectly in time with his run. He's past the defenders. They're probably not going to catch him, and I'm hoping that this goal and scoring the goal, even though he did miss the first penalty in the midweek, I'm hoping this starts to build his confidence. I hope this is the moment where we finally start to see Havertz get into a goal-scoring form, because he can score some brilliant goals. He's done it occasionally before. We have not seen him really hit that groove, though, and I feel like we're finally starting to see that. So I'm hoping this will build his confidence, getting another one today, and he'll just start banging him in every single game. Felix, again, disappointed to go at halftime, but he's kind of now gotten into the role of kind of the Werner role for me. He's not playing striker, but he's that hard worker up front, gives you a lot of energy, gets into good spaces, dangerous player, can't finish. Because, the one chance he put off the post, honestly, I was kind of thinking, he's probably offside. Watch the replay, not offside. And that just makes it even more disappointing because, he had so much of the goal to aim for, and he beats the keeper, but puts it off, not even off the inside of the post. If it was off the inside, I'd be a little bit more like, that was unlucky. But he puts it off the outside of the post. And in my opinion, especially for the quality that we've seen from him, he should be putting that in the back of the net. It's one of those, it's harsh. Some people may say that's harsh, but that's my expectation for him because he is a fantastic player and he has so much quality and skill. And he executes passes that have a more narrow angle than that shot that he took. So for me, I think it's just down to that, again, that goal scoring confidence. I feel like a lot of the players at Chelsea have that lack of confidence, and sometimes it just takes that one goal to be like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I can score a goal. It's possible. I did it today. And I don't know. I do think that does breed more confidence and, in turn, more goals. So hopefully he gets that one soon, because he got the one against West Ham, but that was a few weeks ago. And since then, he's had several wasted opportunities, whether it's off the crossbar, off the post, or one-on-ones that he just sort of... I can't remember if he's more used to like missing or more. I feel like Havertz is more like he'll hit the defender or the keeper, at least before the past two games. Felix feels more like he just sort of misses. Like he'll miss the defender and the keeper, but that means he's also putting it wide most of the time. So, and then Mudryk, didn't really see much of him of the first half, and honestly, today he was the one taking up the striker role. So, again, it just solidifies for me we need a true striker up there. I still don't know what's going on with Fofana. I don't think Aubameyang was on the bench, so clearly I don't know if Fofana is an injury or not. I didn't hear about him getting injured, but Aubameyang, clearly they just don't like him for whatever reason. So we need to get a striker in there, though, because whoever is up there right now is just not benefiting from it because they're not a striker. You know, whether it's Sterling, whether it's Pulisic, whether it's Mudryk today, they're not strikers. And because of that, they're just not as effective as we've seen them be before, because they're being played out of position. So they fill the role well enough to open up the space again for, you know, Havertz to get in there, for Felix to get in there. Both of them do benefit from having somebody else up there, but unfortunately that player is the one that's not benefiting. So yeah, it's a little disappointing. You would like for them to thrive there, so that way everybody is benefiting, but it is kind of one of those things where one of the players is going to take the bullet up front. One of the players is going to be less effective, but as long as they're helping make their teammates effective, which again, I don't think Havertz was doing that position, I'm okay with it. As far as the subs, this is where the video is going to get kind of abruptly short, because again, I didn't see much of the subs. Gallagher obviously got subbed off at halftime, so I saw a little bit more of him. Obviously, the block on the goal line was fantastic, and that's about all I remember from him because I didn't see too much else. So, but I know, I think it was Chalobah and Pulisic came on, and I don't remember who they came on for, to be honest. I think Chilwell was subbed off, and I think Cucurella was subbed off. So it might have been Pulisic goes to the left side, either that or Mudryk went to the left side, and Pulisic played up top. I don't know. I don't know how he did it. I'm pretty sure I did at one point see Chalobah on the right and Fofana on the left. And then Chukwuemeka came on at one point. I don't remember who for. And then I saw Badiashile come on because I think Fofana went down injured. So I don't know how bad that was. I didn't see what happened, whether it looked like a muscle injury or whether it was a challenge that caused it. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, I do apologize because I even debated if I wanted to do this review, but I did want to at least talk about Potter and how things are going with him right now. Again, still feel like he's got a lot to prove why he deserves to get the long-term spot. But these past three matches, they're definitely a sign that he does have the capability to figure things out, to actually make changes that are helping the team. There are still flaws, though, in all of these victories that are these flaws going to cost us in the long run? Possibly. But if he can find a way to fix those flaws while we're still getting these wins that maybe there's a bit of luck to it. You know, maybe the other team is going to waste some chances for us to get wins. But if we're still getting these wins and then he finds out how to fix those flaws like what we have in the defense and kind of sometimes how it's easy to pass through the midfield, once he fixes those, I feel like that's when I'll really feel like, okay, yeah, Potter, good manager. You know, he can get the job done. He can actually get us back up to where we need to be as one of the top clubs. Because to be fair, we still haven't won against any of the top half of the table teams yet. Beating Dortmund obviously is probably the biggest result he's gotten, but we'll have some of those teams to face when we come back from the break. So yeah, we'll see. Everton game, it'll probably be a bit of a rough one because Everton, They really need that bounce. They really need that boost. Sean Dyche, not a manager I enjoy facing because he typically gets his players out there to be a little rougher, a little bit more willing to take you out in a challenge. So it's going to be a rough game next weekend, but based on what I'm seeing, I do feel a little bit more confident that we're going to go out there and we're going to get the job done. We're going to handle our business no problem. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I did want to do this review also because I wasn't really sure if when I was going to be able to do another review. I think next weekend I will be able to review that game. But then after the international break, I'm going to be kind of busy. So I'll probably miss a few games here or there. So, but anyways, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? I guess kind of let me know how the second half went. What are some of the stuff that I missed? Let me know. We can talk about it. All that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Peace out.